Have you ever felt like your greatest strength might also be your biggest obstacle when it comes to love? It's a strange paradox. Recent studies, particularly focusing on men, even suggest that higher intelligence is often linked to greater commitment and healthier relationship behaviors. And yet, some of the most brilliant people, who can deconstruct complex problems and excel in their careers, find their personal lives in a constant state of frustration. They're told their intellect is a gift, but in love, it feels more like a curse. In this video, we're going to explore exactly why this happens for some, and how your greatest strength, your intellect, might be the very thing that's making you struggle with connection. It's a frustrating paradox, isn't it? Your mind is your superpower. It's a finely tuned instrument that allows you to see patterns and analyze outcomes with incredible accuracy. But when faced with the seemingly simple act of building a loving partnership, that same powerful mind can seem to malfunction. The logic fails. The analysis leads to more confusion, not less. But why does this happen? Why do some of the most capable people feel so lonely in their relationships? The answer, according to one profound psychological perspective, has little to do with your conscious efforts. The problem isn't a partner, and it's certainly not intelligence itself. The problem, through this lens, is what your intellect has been trained to do: to suppress, ignore, and deny the hidden, and often emotional, parts of who you are. This video is a journey into a concept from Jungian psychology, called the shadow. You can think of the shadow as everything about yourself that you've rejected. It's where your insecurities, your unacceptable emotions, and your repressed desires live. For some highly intelligent people, the intellect becomes a powerful guard, pushing anything that seems illogical or weak down into this shadow. But what is repressed does not disappear. Instead, it silently directs your life from the darkness. We're going to explore the 6 primary ways this dynamic can play out, turning your brilliant mind against your own heart. Reason number 1. Your mind can treat love like a problem to be solved, not an experience to be lived. This is the classic trap of overthinking. Highly intelligent people, they have a celebrated tendency to analyze everything. A first date isn't just a fun evening. It's a data-gathering mission. You're assessing for compatibility, red flags, and, intellectual alignment. Now, while this is absolutely invaluable in a lab or a boardroom, in romance, it can actually be a poison to genuine connection. Think about a time you really felt a spark. That moment was likely filled with an easy, an unanalyzed presence. Now, then think about what happened in the hours that followed. Your mind likely went right to work. What did they mean by that? Is their story about their ex a red flag? They took 3 hours to text back. Is that disinterest? Your brain then creates a complex web of what-ifs, and that can bury the simple joy of that initial connection under a mountain of anxiety. Psychologists, they call this analysis paralysis. This isn't a personal failing. It's a psychological defense mechanism. The emotional world is messy and unpredictable. Your rational mind, trying to create safety, treats emotions as unreliable data that need to be questioned and controlled. It doesn't always trust a gut feeling because it can't be quantified. From a Jungian viewpoint, this is the shadow at work. Your persona, the mask you show the world, is logical and controlled. Your shadow, therefore, contains the opposite: spontaneity, messy emotions, and the willingness to take a leap of faith. By over-relying on your intellect, you may be trying to navigate the wild ocean of human connection with a spreadsheet, and then wondering why you feel like you're drowning. Next, we have the double-edged sword of high standards. It's natural to apply the same drive for excellence you have in your work to your choice of partner. But when this drive morphs into rigid perfectionism, it becomes a powerful agent of sabotage. This can manifest as a mental checklist. A partner must be intellectually stimulating, emotionally mature, ambitious but not a workaholic, and funny but not goofy. Now, while having standards is healthy, This kind of perfectionism creates a list so demanding that no real human could ever live up to it. Imagine you meet someone wonderful, but then the perfectionist mind kicks in. You notice a minor flaw. Maybe they aren't as well read on a topic you love. For many, this is a minor detail. But for the perfectionist, this flaw can become a fixation, eclipsing all their good qualities. This isn't just being picky. It's a cognitive distortion where the fear of making an imperfect choice becomes overwhelming. This perfectionism isn't just directed outward. Often, it's a defense against a deep-seated belief that we ourselves are flawed. The relentless drive to achieve, it's an attempt to compensate. This creates a terrible paradox, you see. You want intimacy, but you fear that if someone gets too close, well, they'll discover the real, imperfect you and reject you. From a Jungian perspective, this is a defense against the shadow. The perfectionist persona is a rigid mask, created to hide your own perceived imperfections. By demanding a perfect partner, you're unconsciously trying to find a mirror that only reflects the good parts. But relationships, by their very nature, are a journey into wholeness, and that means encountering imperfection, both in your partner and, yes, in yourself. The third major reason some intelligent people struggle is a fierce, almost militant sense of independence. You've likely been praised your whole life for being, self-sufficient. In a relationship, however, this can become a fortress. This isn't just about enjoying alone time. It's a deep, often unconscious fear of dependency. To the logical mind, dependence can equal weakness, a catastrophic loss of control. You might even pride yourself on being the low-maintenance partner, the one who never asks for anything. But relationships are built on mutual interdependence. True intimacy, you see, is about two whole people, willing to lean on each other. Vulnerability is, truly, the currency of emotional connection. It's the act of saying, "I'm scared," or "I need your help." For the hyper-independent person, though, these phrases can feel impossible to say. Partners often feel lonely and shut out. They see you handle stress with stoic competence, but they also feel they aren't truly part of your inner world. Over time, this can lead them to feel unneeded and disconnected. They might even think, what is my role in their life if they won't let me in? This fear of vulnerability is, once again, a manifestation of the shadow. Your persona, it's strong and capable. Your shadow, therefore, contains the weaker parts of your humanity, like your need for comfort, your insecurities, and your longing to be cared for. And hey, these are totally normal, healthy human needs. But in protecting yourself from that perceived danger of vulnerability, you're actually cutting yourself off from the possibility of profound love. This next point may be difficult to hear, because it's something you're likely doing completely unintentionally. Your intelligence can be deeply intimidating to others, and this can create a power imbalance. That makes a true partnership feel impossible. Think about how your mind works. It's likely fast and highly perceptive. In a discussion, you can articulate your points with precision. While these are incredible skills, they can make your partner feel like they're constantly under examination, or that any small mistake in their logic will be spotted and judged. This isn't because you're trying to be a bully. It's a natural side effect of your cognitive wiring. But for your partner, it can feel like being in a perpetual oral exam. They might become hesitant to share, fearing their contributions won't measure up. This slowly erodes their sense of self-worth within the relationship. This dynamic is directly linked to the Jungian concept of the persona. That polished mask we present. For many intelligent people, this persona is one of competence and logic. The problem is, when this persona is just too rigid, it leaves little room for your partner's humanity. A partnership, you see, it requires a shared sense of humanity, that safety to be imperfect. If your persona is one of unflinching competence, you're unintentionally sending the message that imperfection just isn't allowed. Your partner doesn't want a professor. No, They want a partner. And a partner is someone you can be, beautifully and safely imperfect with. We now arrive at the most subtle and, honestly, the most powerful mechanism on this list, the trap of projection. This is the core of how an unacknowledged shadow can disrupt relationships, from the inside out. In Jungian psychology, projection is this unconscious defense, where you take parts of yourself you deny and attribute them to someone else. You don't see the trait in yourself. Instead, your mind, well, it projects it onto your partner, who's the closest screen you have. So, let's make this concrete. Imagine you learned to suppress anger, to always be calm and rational. Anger was pushed into your shadow. Now, your partner expresses a mild frustration. Because you've disowned your own capacity for anger, their normal expression of it feels overwhelmingly threatening to you. You see them not as just frustrated, but as aggressive or out of control. You're reacting to your own terrifying, rejected anger, projected right onto them. And this happens with any number of traits, really. If you've disowned your own neediness, for example, a simple request for reassurance from your partner might be perceived as clinginess. You are literally starting fights with your own shadow. And your partner is left confused and hurt, feeling fundamentally misunderstood. This is why so many arguments feel cyclical. You're not actually arguing about the dishes. You're arguing about your projected shadow of irresponsibility. For intelligent people who excel at external analysis, this is a massive blind spot. The real source of the emotional charge, it's coming from within. The final reason is finding yourself stuck in a loop, repeating the same unhealthy patterns with different partners. You might look back at your relationship history and just see a frustrating theme. Maybe you always fall for people who are, emotionally unavailable. Or you find yourself in the role of the fixer. It can feel like a curse. But this isn't bad luck. From a psychological viewpoint, though, it's the work of your unconscious. When you ignore your shadow, those unresolved parts of yourself actively seek healing. The psyche does this by unconsciously drawing you toward people and situations that will bring your shadow issues right to the surface. Let's go back to an example. If you have a deep, unacknowledged fear of abandonment, you might find yourself repeatedly attracted to partners who are distant or unreliable. Your conscious mind is baffled, but your unconscious mind has a different agenda. It's recreating the conditions of your wound, not to torture you, but to give you another chance to face and heal it. The problem is, a highly analytical mind often misinterprets the situation, seeing the problem as being out there, in the partner. You fail to realize that the relationship is simply a mirror, showing you the work you need to do on yourself. Without this self-awareness, the pattern is destined to repeat. The faces change, but the story remains the same. The only way to break the cycle is to stop analyzing the mirror, and finally, bravely, look at yourself. So, what does this mean? How do you escape these traps? The answer isn't to be less intelligent. It's to become more whole. The solution, in therapeutic terms, is to engage in shadow work, that courageous process of turning inward. Broadly, here's what that can look like. First, pay attention to your emotional triggers, the things that create a disproportionately strong emotional reaction in you. Those are signposts pointing to your shadow. When you feel a surge of rage or contempt, pause. Get curious. Ask yourself, what is this really about? What old wound is this touching? Second, practice radical self-compassion. See, the reason these parts are in the shadow is because you've judged them as bad. The way to bring them back, it's through acceptance. So, when you notice your own neediness or insecurity, don't beat yourself up. Just acknowledge it. Perfectionism, it's healed with compassion for your own imperfections. Third, consciously practice vulnerability. Now, this is going to feel uncomfortable, but it is absolutely essential. Vulnerability, it's a skill. So, start small. Share a minor fear with your partner. Ask for help. Express an emotional need directly. Each time you do this, you're rewiring your brain to understand that vulnerability isn't danger. It's actually the gateway to connection. Fourth, learn to own your projections. This is advanced work. In a conflict, learn to ask, what is my role in this? Before criticizing your partner for being controlling, ask yourself, in what ways am I being controlling? This dissolves projection and allows you to deal with the reality of the situation. The goal is integration, to bring these disowned parts into your conscious awareness so they no longer control you from the dark. The struggle that some intelligent people face in relationships. It's not a life sentence. It's often a symptom of a lopsided development, where the brilliant light of the rational mind has cast a long shadow. Your intellect, well, it's not the enemy. In fact, your capacity for deep analysis and problem solving, that's a gift. The challenge, and the invitation, is to turn that incredible gift inward. To use your intelligence not just to understand the world, but to understand the whole of yourself. True strength isn't being invulnerable. It's having the courage to be seen completely. Does any of this resonate with you? Have you ever faced similar challenges, where your own mind felt like the biggest obstacle in your love life? We'd love to hear your story. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. And if this video resonated with you, please give it a like. Subscribe for more insights, and share it with anyone you think might need to hear this message.